So, I have kind of a really weird ramble that I want to get into. I recently watched a YouTube video by Alex Matuso. I really hope I'm saying that right. Sorry if I'm not. And in her video, she was talking about how a good portion of folk tales and ghost stories are fabricated. Why? Because a lot of the times they're whitewashed, they're sexist, and they are very much so over-Christianized, if that makes sense. And technically speaking, I got to thinking about this, that's actually true. Like, history is whitewashed in the United States because Christianity is such a popular and dominant religion that has a huge impact on history itself and how people perceive things. This also got me to thinking. History, okay, so I'm a sociology major. History is uncomfortable. It's gonna bother you, it's gonna make you angry, it's gonna make you frustrated, it's gonna make you upset. I know it does for me. So here's like a weird thing that I've noticed. Where in the world do you hear about tales of ghosts who are sexist, who are racist? What about when you go to abandoned mental hospitals that are allegedly haunted? And a lot of those patients there were homosexuals. But yet, you don't hear a lot of those stories. Yes, there could be arguments made that it's all in human perception, yada yada, and that's why it's like this and whatever. But it could also explain a bunch of other things, because I think that a lot of these folk tales and a lot of these ghost stories are, just like history, kind of fabricated. They're written and told by the overarching dominant people or groups who have the control in that society and during that time, and therefore it's their perspective that's telling these stories. It's not the marginalized groups or anybody else who's telling these stories, it's the ones who have the control. And if this is the case, this also leads me to another little rabbit hole. Where are all the racist ghosts? Where are all the sexist ghosts? Where are all the homophobic ghosts? Where are all the ghosts who look at a lot of people like myself who identify as witches or pagans, or even Wiccans or spiritualists, and think that when we're trying to communicate, oh my god, we must be so evil, right? Like, maybe that's why there's a lot of times some negative interaction, because their perspective is like, what? And we're like, hey. And lastly, just one more little ramble. So, you know how you hear all these stories about, like, haunted objects? A lot of the times they're dolls. Most of the time porcelain dolls, or teddy bears, or sometimes just random objects, like maybe like jewelry or something that the person owned. Okay. That's great and all, but where are all the haunted Barbie dolls? Where are all the haunted pillows? Where are all the haunted Funko Pops and troll dolls and whatever else there are out there? I want to see those, okay? I mean, there's gotta be at least some out there, right? If we're following this logic that spirits can attach to anything, then there has to be some out there. New to spirit keeping, any tips? This is a question I've been getting fairly often lately, so we're going to address it right now. First of all, we really have to define what spirit keeping is. And a lot of people out there have different beliefs and different spiritualities, and so they define it all kind of differently. The way I see it is you are inviting a spirit to share your space with you, and you are actively communicating with them in order to form some sort of relationship with them. If you search spirit keeping online, more than likely you're going to run into people that claim that they're selling you like a demon spirit or a dragon spirit or a fae spirit. Now, there are some people who believe in that, and I'm not dismissing it. I don't have much personal experience with that. I only have experience with earthbound spirits, which essentially are disembodied human souls that are still stuck on this plane of existence. So that's primarily what I'm going to talk about. The person who takes in spirited items is known as the spirit keeper. So for example, I would be a spirit keeper. Now the main thing I would suggest is to do research on the paranormal, do research on ghost hunting, just look into different theories, different techniques. Next, you're going to want to look into different types of spirits. For example, tulpas, residual energies, or more conscious, intelligent hauntings, or stuff like that. I do highly recommend that, because then you can kind of not only figure out what you believe, but figure out what you want to start out with, what works for you, and how you want to go about communicating and going forward. Anybody who's new to engaging in any form of spiritual or paranormal activity, or if you're just like diving into this, anything that really involves spirits or supernatural or paranormal entities, you are most definitely going to want to learn cleansing, you're going to want to learn grounding, and you're also going to want to learn, different types of maybe like meditations or how to work with the elements. And the only reason I say that is because you're going to want to know how to protect yourself against any sort of negative activity. I'm going to continue this in another part, so any more questions, either leave them here or on another video. If you're looking for resources, one of the first names that pops into my head is Alec Mitsuo. Hope I said it right that time. She has a YouTube channel as well as a TikTok account, and has published a bunch of wonderful books that are great resources. Now, something that's actually helped me with my interest in the paranormal and communicating with spirits is The Brave Mortal's Guide to Ghost Hunting. And I will tell you why in just one moment. On page 1 of The Brave Mortal's Guide to Ghost Hunting, right at the start of the introduction, Alex says something that I have been trying to express very clearly for a while now, and I think she very much so gets this across. So I'm going to read that little section of her book, right? But ghosts are people. It can be easy to distinguish people and ghosts as two different things, but they're really the same. Think of that ghost as a spirit without a body. They're still people. Like, this is a concept that has been something I've been trying to say and express. And it's like, this was expressed perfectly. This is very important to note. A lot of people treat spirits and ghosts as circus animals, as pets, even sometimes as slaves. Like, they just use them. How would you like to be used? Ghosts, spirits, these are people who have experienced the number one fear that is innate of humanity: death. And oftentimes, getting to that point is extremely, extremely traumatic. I mean, imagine facing your worst fear and all of your dreams just going out the window like that. And then imagine being confused because you're walking around but you feel kind of strange and people can't see you, people can't hear you, or they don't acknowledge you. I mean, that's incredibly lonely. A lot of these times, these spirits just want to be acknowledged. And sometimes, like most people, they don't always want to talk. They're not going to perform on cue because, sometimes we just don't feel like talking or feel like doing things. I mean, it's like interacting with live people.